Rain poured over the city like a curtain of silver. The university stadium was packed with students screaming for their teams. Lights illuminated the football field while music blasted through giant speakers. "Come on, Ethan. Pass the ball. Move. Move. Take the shot." The crowd erupted as Ethan Carter sprinted across the field. Second-year business administration student. Captain of the football team. Friendly. Talented. The kind of person everyone liked. But tonight, something felt wrong. A strange pressure sat in his chest. As if someone was watching him. Not the crowd. Not his teammates. Someone else. Someone hidden. Ethan glanced toward the highest row of seats. A man dressed in black stood alone beneath the rain. Watching. Not cheering. Not moving. Just watching. For a brief second their eyes met. Then, "Ethan!" his teammate shouted. The moment broke. Ethan turned and kicked the ball. Goal! The stadium exploded with cheers. Students jumped from their seats. The commentator screamed into the microphone. Unbelievable. But while everyone celebrated, something happened in the darkness behind the stadium. A figure collapsed. Nobody noticed. Nobody heard. Because the crowd was too loud. And because whoever did it, planned it perfectly. 3 days later, the university was drowning in rumors. Students crowded hallways. Phones buzzed nonstop. Whispers spread through every classroom. "Did you hear? They found a body." "What? Behind the stadium?" "No way. I swear." Ethan listened silently from his desk. Across the room his best friend Noah slid into the seat beside him. "You look terrible." "I didn't sleep." "Still thinking about the stadium?" Ethan nodded. The truth was, he couldn't stop thinking about the man in black. Every night the memory returned. Every night he saw those eyes. Watching him. Studying him. Waiting. "You think the police know who did it?" Noah asked. "No. You think it's a student?" Ethan looked toward the window. The rain had returned. "I don't know. But deep down, he had a feeling. This wasn't random. Not at all." Later that afternoon, Ethan escaped to his favorite place. The old art building. Most students never came here. The walls were cracked. The paint was peeling. The hallways smelled like old paper. But Ethan loved it. Because it was quiet. Because nobody expected anything from him here. And because of one secret. He loved drawing. Football was his public life. Art was his private one. Opening his sketchbook he sat beside a large window overlooking campus. His pencil moved automatically. Lines formed. Shapes appeared. A face emerged. Eyes. Nose. Lips. Hair. A complete portrait. Ethan froze. The face staring back from the page wasn't familiar. A stranger. A young man. Handsome. Sharp features. Cold eyes. The drawing felt strangely real. As if he had seen this person before. But he knew he hadn't. Or had he? A chill ran down his spine. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. No message. Just a photograph. Ethan opened it. His blood turned cold. The image showed his sketchbook. His actual sketchbook. The one sitting directly in front of him. Someone had taken a picture of it. Only seconds ago. He jumped to his feet. Heart pounding. The hallway outside was empty. No footsteps. No voices. No one. Yet somebody had been watching him. Again. That night? The rain became a storm. Thunder shook the city. Ethan couldn't sleep. The mysterious photo kept replaying in his mind. Finally. Around midnight. His phone vibrated. Another message. Unknown number. This time there were words. Just 3. Find the artist. Ethan stared. What does that even mean? Before he could think further, another message arrived. A location. The university library. 2 a.m. Most people would ignore it. Most people would call the police. But curiosity can be dangerous. And Ethan had always been curious. So at 1:50 a.m., he found himself standing outside the library. Rain soaked his jacket. The campus was deserted. The giant building looked almost haunted. Every window was dark. Except one. A single light glowed from the basement. The basement wasn't supposed to be open. Yet there it was. Illuminated. Waiting. Ethan swallowed hard. Then stepped inside. The library felt different at night. Every sound echoed. Every shadow seemed alive. His footsteps creaked across wooden floors. The basement door stood slightly open. Light spilled through the gap. Someone was definitely inside. Ethan approached slowly. His heart hammered against his ribs. Then, a voice emerged. Calm. Smooth. Unexpected. You're late. Ethan froze. He pushed the door open. And saw him. The man from the sketch. The exact face he had drawn earlier that day. Sitting calmly in a chair. As if he'd been expecting him. As if this meeting had been planned long ago. The stranger smiled. Not warmly. Not coldly. Something in between. Something impossible to read. "Who are you?" Ethan asked. The man's smile widened. "My name doesn't matter." "What do you want?" The stranger leaned forward. Rain tapped against the basement windows. For a moment the world felt silent. Then he spoke. Words that would change Ethan's life forever. "You drew my face." Ethan's stomach dropped. "How do you know that?" The stranger ignored the question. Instead he pointed toward a wall behind him. Ethan turned. And nearly collapsed. Hundreds of portraits covered the wall. Students. Professors. Staff. Dozens. Hundreds. Maybe more. Every portrait was drawn in the exact same style as Ethan's sketches. Some had red marks across them. Some had dates written beneath them. Others had words. Missing. Expelled. Dead. Ethan couldn't breathe. "What is this?" The stranger stood. Slowly. Deliberately. Then looked directly into Ethan's eyes. "Tell me something." "What? Have you ever noticed what happens after you draw someone?" The room suddenly felt ice cold. Because Ethan knew exactly what he meant. Because it was the secret he had never told anyone. The secret he had hidden since childhood. Every person he had drawn had suffered some terrible accident afterward. Every single one. The stranger smiled. And whispered. "You're not imagining it." Lightning flashed outside. Thunder exploded across the sky. And somewhere in the darkness of the university, a scream echoed. The next morning Blackwood University looked exactly as it always had. Students filled the walkways with laughter, professors hurried between buildings, and the campus cafe overflowed with conversations about assignments and upcoming exams. Yet for Ethan, nothing felt normal anymore. He couldn't stop thinking about the dead body. The blood. The strange silver coin. And most importantly, Adrian Knight. The mysterious senior who had somehow known a murder would happen before anyone else. Ethan barely touched his breakfast. His best friend Noah dropped into the chair across from him carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You look terrible." "I didn't sleep." "I can tell." Noah laughed before taking a sip. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Ethan remained silent. After a few seconds Noah frowned. "Wait, what's wrong?" Ethan lowered his voice. "What if I told you someone died during yesterday's football match?" Noah rolled his eyes. "Everyone knows that." "No. I mean before the ambulance arrived. I saw him. I saw everything." The smile disappeared from Noah's face. "What?" "I think." Ethan hesitated. "I think someone murdered him." Noah stared. "You've been watching too many crime shows." "I'm serious." There was blood. He wasn't breathing. And someone disappeared into the crowd. "So tell the police." "I can't." "Why?" "Because I don't know what I actually saw." Before Noah could answer, a loud voice echoed across the cafeteria. "Everyone!" Students looked toward the entrance. 2 police officers walked inside. The room instantly became silent. One of the officers spoke calmly. "We're investigating yesterday's incident. If anyone noticed suspicious behavior, please come forward." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The officer looked disappointed. After a few minutes, they left. The entire cafeteria exploded with whispers. "They're saying it wasn't an accident. I heard the victim worked for someone. My cousin said organized crime is involved. No. I heard Adrian Knight owns half the city. My brother says nobody who crosses Adrian survives." Ethan looked toward the window. Outside, Adrian was walking alone beneath the old oak trees. Students moved aside as he passed. Nobody greeted him. Nobody stopped him. Nobody even dared make eye contact. It was as if the campus itself feared him. "Who exactly is Adrian Knight?" Ethan asked quietly. Noah looked uncomfortable. "You really don't know?" "No." Noah leaned closer. "There are stories." "What kind of stories?" "They say professors ask him for favors. They say politicians know his name. They say the university board listens whenever he speaks." Ethan frowned. "That doesn't make sense." "It doesn't have to. The scary part, no one knows why." After class, Ethan headed toward the library. The massive building stood at the oldest corner of campus. According to university history, it had survived 2 fires, 1 earthquake, and a war. Students joked it would outlive civilization itself. Inside, silence ruled. The smell of old books filled the air. Ethan searched for a business strategy textbook. Instead, he noticed Adrian sitting alone near a window. A sketchbook rested on the table. He wasn't reading. He wasn't studying. He was drawing. Ethan couldn't help looking. The drawing was incredible. Every line looked alive. The portrait seemed almost ready to speak. Adrian noticed him. "You can come closer." Ethan froze. "I wasn't spying." "I know. You were curious." Ethan slowly approached. "You're really talented." Adrian smiled. "So are you." Ethan blinked. "What? You draw too? How do you know?" "I've seen your notebook." Ethan's heart skipped. Nobody had ever seen his private sketches. "I? You left it open in economics class." Adrian closed his sketchbook. "You have potential. But you're afraid." Ethan felt strangely exposed. Afraid of what? Being seen. The answer landed like a stone. Because it was true. Ever since middle school, people laughed at his artwork. He had stopped showing anyone. Except, no one should know that. Before Ethan could ask another question, a librarian hurried toward Adrian. "Mr. Knight. We found the document you requested." She handed him a thick envelope sealed with black wax. Adrian thanked her politely. As he walked away, the envelope slipped. Several photographs scattered across the floor. Ethan instinctively bent down to help. Then, he froze. Every photograph showed university students. Some smiling. Some crying. Some entering buildings. Some leaving classrooms. Each photograph had handwritten notes. Dates. Times. Locations. Almost like surveillance. Adrian calmly picked them up. "You shouldn't look at things that don't belong to you." His voice remained gentle. But something inside Ethan suddenly felt cold. That evening, rain covered the city. Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the photographs. Who were those students? Why was Adrian collecting information? What was inside that envelope? His phone vibrated. Unknown number. He answered. No response. Only breathing. Slow. Calm. Almost patient. Then, click. The call ended. Another message arrived immediately. "Stop asking questions." Ethan stared at the screen. His hands trembled. Another message appeared. "You were never supposed to see him." The sender vanished before he could reply. Someone knocked on his apartment door. 3 slow knocks. Ethan looked through the peephole. Nobody. He carefully opened the door. The hallway was empty. Except, a small black envelope rested on the floor. No name. No address. Only a silver coin taped to the front. The same coin he had seen beside the dead body. His breathing stopped. He slowly opened the envelope. Inside, there was only one photograph. A picture of himself. Taken earlier that afternoon, inside the library. On the back, one sentence had been written in elegant handwriting. "Welcome to the game." The rain continued long after midnight. Ethan couldn't sleep. The black envelope lay on his desk. The silver coin reflected the faint light coming through his bedroom window. He picked it up again. Unlike an ordinary coin, it had no country name, no number, no symbol. Only a strange emblem. A crow standing on top of an old key. He searched the internet. Nothing. Image search. Nothing. The symbol didn't exist anywhere. His phone suddenly vibrated. A message from Noah. "Bro, are you awake?" Ethan immediately called him. Noah answered almost instantly. "You got the message too?" "What message?" "They canceled tomorrow's morning classes." "Why?" "They said there's a gas leak near the old library." Ethan frowned. "There wasn't any gas leak yesterday." "I know. It sounds fake." The next morning, despite the announcement, students gathered around the library. Yellow caution tape blocked the entrance. Security guards stood outside. No one was allowed inside. Students whispered among themselves. "I heard someone broke into the archives." "My cousin said confidential files disappeared." "No. I heard someone died inside." Ethan noticed Adrian standing alone beneath a tree. Unlike everyone else, he wasn't looking surprised. He looked prepared. A black luxury car stopped beside the library. 3 men wearing expensive suits stepped out. None of them looked like police officers. The university president personally welcomed them. Professors lowered their heads respectfully. Even the security guards stepped aside. The men entered the library without saying a word. No one questioned them. No one dared. Noah whispered. "Who are they?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't know." But Adrian quietly watched them disappear inside. For the first time, Ethan noticed something unusual. Adrian's calm expression had vanished. That afternoon, curiosity defeated fear. Ethan walked behind the library where almost nobody ever went. The old building stretched farther than students realized. Vines covered broken brick walls. Dust-coated forgotten windows. Behind several bushes, he found something unexpected. An old metal door, half hidden beneath ivy. No sign. No lock. No security cameras. It looked abandoned. He pushed it open. A cold wind rushed from below. Stone stairs disappeared into darkness. His heartbeat quickened. This isn't a good idea. But his feet continued moving. Step, step, step. The deeper he went, the colder the air became. The basement was enormous. Rows of rusted shelves filled the room. Boxes. Old books. Broken furniture. Ancient university records. Everything smelled of mold and forgotten history. His phone flashlight barely illuminated the darkness. Then, he heard footsteps. Not his own. Someone else was walking. Slowly. Somewhere ahead. Ethan. His blood froze. Someone had whispered his name. He spun around. Nothing. Only darkness. The whisper came again. Ethan. This time. Closer. He followed the sound. The corridor opened into a circular chamber. At the center stood a massive iron vault door. Above it, the exact same crow symbol. The silver coin suddenly became warm in his pocket. Without thinking, he took it out. The coin fit perfectly into a circular slot beside the door. Click. The lock released. The giant vault slowly opened by itself. Inside, thousands of student files. Every student who had ever attended Blackwood University. Each cabinet labeled by graduation year. Ethan walked carefully between endless shelves. Some files looked decades old. Others were brand new. He searched for his own name. After several minutes, he found it. Ethan Walker. Second year. Business Administration. Hands trembling. He opened the file. His childhood photographs. Medical records. School reports. Bank information. Family history. Even private conversations copied word for word. His breathing became uneven. Who collected all this? Then, he turned the final page. There was only one sentence. Status, observation phase complete. Below it, today's date. A loud metallic sound echoed behind him. The vault door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed the room. His flashlight flickered. Then died. Complete silence. Until footsteps. Heavy. Measured. Coming closer. A man's voice echoed through the darkness. You shouldn't have opened that door. Ethan backed away. Who's there? No answer. Only footsteps. Closer. 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 Then, a single flashlight turned on. Standing only a few meters away was Adrian. You found this place sooner than I expected. His voice remained calm. Ethan stared at him. You knew. Yes. You knew this place existed. Yes. Who are you? Adrian sighed. The answer to that question will only put you in more danger. Ethan held up his file. Who made this? Adrian looked at it. They've been watching you for years. They? The people who built this university. What are you talking about? This school isn't just a university. Before Adrian could continue, a loud alarm suddenly echoed through the basement. Red emergency lights flashed across the walls. Metal doors began closing automatically. A computerized voice repeated. Security breach detected. Security breach detected. Adrian's expression changed instantly. Run. What? Now. They sprinted through endless corridors. Behind them, steel doors slammed shut one after another. The building itself seemed alive. Suddenly, several masked figures appeared ahead. Black uniforms. White crow emblems. Their faces completely hidden. One of them spoke. Subject 117 has entered the archive. Another replied. Orders. The leader answered. Capture him alive. Adrian stepped in front of Ethan. Stay behind me. One masked figure charged. Within seconds, Adrian disarmed him using precise movements. Another attacked. Adrian blocked. Countered. The attacker crashed into a shelf. 3 more surrounded them. Ethan couldn't believe what he was seeing. Adrian fought like someone professionally trained. Not a student. Not even close. Left. Adrian shouted. Ethan looked. A narrow emergency tunnel. They ran. The tunnel twisted beneath the campus. Old pipes lined the ceiling. Water dripped from cracked concrete. Behind them, footsteps multiplied. The masked figures were gaining. They reached a ladder leading upward. Adrian climbed first. Ethan followed. They emerged inside the university chapel. Empty. Silent. Peaceful. As if nothing had happened. The basement entrance disappeared beneath the stone floor. Hidden once again. Ethan looked around in disbelief. What is this place? Adrian remained silent. After several seconds, he finally spoke. Blackwood University only accepts the brightest students. Ethan nodded. But that isn't the real admission process. What do you mean? Adrian looked directly into Ethan's eyes. They've been choosing students long before they ever apply. Before Ethan could ask another question, the chapel doors burst open. A security officer rushed inside. Mr. Knight. They're waiting for you. Adrian nodded. As he walked away, he stopped beside Ethan. Without turning around, he quietly said, "Whatever happens, never let anyone know you found the archive." Then he disappeared into the rain. Ethan stood alone inside the ancient chapel, still holding his student file, still trying to understand why someone had been watching him since he was a child. The chapel was silent. Only the sound of rain echoed against the stained glass windows. Ethan stood frozen, still gripping the thick student file he had stolen from the underground archive. His pulse hadn't slowed since escaping the masked men beneath the university. Nothing made sense anymore. A hidden archive. Thousands of confidential files. Masked guards. And Adrian, who fought like someone trained for war. That night, Ethan returned to his apartment just before midnight. He locked every door, closed every curtain, then carefully spread the contents of his file across the table. Medical reports, school records, childhood photographs, competition certificates. Everything was perfectly organized. Too perfectly. Then he noticed something strange. One page wasn't attached like the others. It had been folded several times. Someone clearly didn't want it to be found. He unfolded it. At the top, a handwritten sentence appeared. Project Orion. Below it, only one line. Candidate compatibility, 97.8%. What project? What compatibility? Before he could think further, the lights went out. The entire apartment sank into darkness. Outside, thunder shook the sky. His phone screen lit up. Unknown number. A text message appeared. If you want the truth, come to the clock tower. 1 a.m. Come alone. Ethan immediately called Noah. No answer. He called again. Voicemail. Again. Nothing. His stomach tightened. Something was wrong. 12:47 a.m. The campus looked completely different at night. Fog drifted between old buildings. Street lamps flickered. The enormous clock tower stood at the center of the university like an ancient guardian watching over forgotten secrets. Ethan checked his phone. 12:59. 1 minute. Nobody. The wind grew stronger. Then, a voice came from behind. You actually came. Ethan turned. It wasn't Adrian. It was a girl. Around 22. Long black coat. Short silver hair. Calm blue eyes. She smiled slightly. My name is Sophia. I've been waiting for you. Who are you? I'm someone who's trying to keep you alive. What? She ignored the question. Instead, she handed him another silver coin. This one looked different. Instead of a crow, it showed a wolf. Keep it. You'll need it soon. Before Ethan could ask anything, the clock struck 1. Boom, boom, boom. 12 massive bells echoed across campus. Then, the ground beneath the clock tower vibrated. A hidden stone staircase slowly rose from the ground. Ethan's eyes widened. This wasn't here. Sophia nodded. It only appears once every month. The staircase descended underground. Candles illuminated ancient stone walls. Dozens of students quietly walked downward. Some wore expensive suits. Others casual clothes. Some looked like athletes. Some looked like professors. No one spoke. Everyone wore the same silver coin around their neck. What is this place? Sophia answered softly. The Midnight Society. The underground hall looked centuries old. A circular room surrounded by giant stone pillars. At the center, a black marble table. Exactly 12 chairs. Every chair occupied. Except one. Students filled the outer edges of the chamber watching silently. No phones. No cameras. No whispers. Absolute silence. An elderly man entered. Everyone immediately stood. Even Sophia. Even the professors. The old man looked nearly 80. Yet his posture remained perfectly straight. His eyes scanned the room before finally stopping on Ethan. So, the newest candidate has arrived. Ethan frowned. I'm not a candidate. The old man smiled. You have been one. Since the day you were born. The room became silent again. The old man introduced himself. My name is Victor Graves. I founded Blackwood University. Ethan blinked. That's impossible. The founder died over 60 years ago. Victor simply smiled. So they say. Before Ethan could react, A large screen descended from the ceiling. Security footage appeared. Football stadium. The exact moment of the murder. Ethan leaned forward. Finally, he would see the killer. The video zoomed in. The masked attacker raised a knife. The victim collapsed. Then, another figure appeared. The attacker immediately stopped, turned around, and ran away. The mysterious figure stepped into the camera's view. The room fell silent. It was Adrian. Victor looked toward Ethan. Now tell me. Do you still believe Adrian Knight is the murderer? Ethan stared at the screen. No. He saved him. Victor nodded. Correct. Another video played. Different location. 3 years earlier. A laboratory. Explosion. Fire everywhere. Someone carried an unconscious child through the flames. The rescuer turned toward the camera. Again. It was Adrian. Another video. 5 years earlier. A bridge collapsing during a flood. Adrian pulled strangers from the river one after another. Another. Each video showed the same thing. Adrian saving lives. Not taking them. So why does everyone think he's dangerous? Victor smiled. Because we made them believe it. The entire room became silent. Sophia looked at Ethan. The rumors protect him. They keep ordinary people away. Because if people discovered what Adrian really does, they would become targets too. What exactly does he do? Before anyone answered, the enormous wooden doors burst open. A young man stumbled inside covered in blood. Everyone stood. Sophia rushed toward him. What happened? They found us. They know where the society is. Suddenly, the lights exploded. Darkness. Gunshots. Students screamed. Glass shattered. Masked soldiers stormed into the chamber carrying assault rifles. White Crow emblems covered their uniforms. Exactly like the men beneath the archive. Nobody move. One soldier shouted. Victor calmly remained seated. You finally arrived. The commander removed his mask. A scar crossed half his face. He smiled coldly. We're taking candidate 117. He pointed directly at Ethan. Sophia stepped in front of Ethan. No. The commander laughed. You really think you can stop us? More soldiers entered. 20, 30, maybe more. They surrounded the Midnight Society. Escape became impossible. Then, the massive entrance doors slammed shut. Every light suddenly turned back on. Footsteps echoed through the chamber. Slow. Confident. Everyone turned toward the entrance. Adrian walked inside. Completely calm. Hands in his pockets. As if nothing unusual was happening. The commander smiled. There you are. Adrian stopped in the center of the hall. His eyes met the commander's. I told you. If you came after him, you'd have to come through me. The commander laughed. You really think one man can stop an entire unit? Adrian smiled for the first time. You still haven't learned. He slowly removed his black jacket. Underneath, a strange tattoo covered his left arm. A black wolf surrounded by fire. The moment the commander saw it, his confident expression disappeared. No, it can't be. One terrified soldier whispered. Commander, that's. Before he could finish, every masked soldier instinctively took one step backward. Even the commander. Fear spread across the room. Victor quietly smiled. The legend has returned. Ethan looked around in complete confusion. What legend? Sophia's voice trembled. You still don't know who Adrian really is. She looked directly at him. His real name isn't Adrian Knight. Silence swallowed the underground chamber. Every pair of eyes remained fixed on the man standing in the center. Adrian. Or whoever he really was. The commander slowly lowered his weapon. His confident smile had completely disappeared. The soldiers behind him exchanged nervous glances. One whispered. Commander. It really is him. Another stepped backward. I thought he died. The commander immediately shouted. Shut up. But his own voice trembled. Ethan looked from one face to another. What is happening? Who is he? No one answered. Victor Graves slowly stood from his chair. For 10 years. The world believed the wolf disappeared. They believed he was killed during Operation Eclipse. He looked toward Adrian. It seems the world was wrong. Adrian calmly buttoned the sleeve of his shirt hiding the black wolf tattoo. I retired. The commander laughed bitterly. No one retires from Orion. The room fell silent. That name again. Orion. The same name Ethan had discovered inside his file. What is Orion? Ethan asked. Sophia looked at him. You still don't understand. Blackwood University isn't only a university. It is a recruitment center. For the brightest minds. For future leaders. For people who can change the world. Ethan frowned. Recruitment, for what? Before Sophia could answer, the commander smiled. For an organization that controls governments. No, Ethan whispered. That's impossible. Victor sighed. It should be impossible. But unfortunately, it isn't. The commander slowly walked around the marble table. You know why we choose universities? Because power begins with knowledge. We don't recruit politicians. We create them. We don't recruit billionaires. We make them. We don't recruit presidents. We choose who becomes president. Every word made Ethan's heart beat faster. This is insane. The commander smiled. Truth usually sounds insane. He suddenly looked directly at Adrian. You abandoned us. You betrayed Orion. You stole something that belongs to us. Adrian's expression remained unreadable. I protected it. You mean? The commander laughed. Him. Every eye turned toward Ethan. His stomach dropped. Me? The commander pointed at Ethan. Candidate 117. The most valuable subject Orion has ever created. Ethan stepped backward. I don't even know you. Oh? You will. Victor suddenly struck the floor with his cane. Enough. You will not touch the boy. The commander smiled. You still think this place belongs to you? He snapped his fingers. Immediately, dozens of hidden laser sights appeared throughout the chamber. Red dots covered every member of the Midnight Society. Hidden snipers. Waiting. Watching. Ready. Sophia whispered. They surrounded the entire building. Victor nodded slowly. I know. The commander looked toward Adrian. I'll give you one chance. Hand Ethan over. And everyone else walks away alive. Silence. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 20. Adrian finally answered. No. The commander's smile vanished. Then everyone dies. A deafening explosion shook the underground hall. The ceiling cracked. Dust filled the air. The lights flickered wildly. Students screamed. Another explosion echoed from above. The university itself was under attack. Move! Adrian shouted. The Midnight Society scattered in every direction. The commander raised his pistol. Bang! A bullet flew straight toward Ethan. Time seemed to stop. Before Ethan could react, someone shoved him aside. Sophia. The bullet tore through her shoulder. She crashed onto the stone floor. Blood spread across her black coat. Ethan. She struggled to breathe. Run. Adrian moved faster than Ethan could follow. Within seconds he reached the commander. The pistol fired again. Adrian twisted sideways. The bullet missed by inches. He grabbed the commander's wrist. A sharp crack echoed through the chamber. The pistol fell. The commander screamed. The remaining soldiers opened fire. Adrian flipped the marble table onto its side. Bullets shattered stone. Students crawled for cover. Victor calmly opened a hidden compartment beneath his chair. Inside? An old revolver. He smiled faintly. I hoped I'd never need this again. Meanwhile, Ethan knelt beside Sophia. Blood covered his hands. We need a hospital. She grabbed his wrist. No. They'll find me.